guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's been quite a while since I've done an individual review on my channel, but I know a lot of you are going to be wondering whether it's worthwhile picking up Taylor Jenkins Reid's newest book. Because obviously she's become a lot more popular as an author because of the popularity of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and this is a book that came out very recently. I think at the beginning of April. I could be wrong about that. I should have looked that up before I came on, but I didn't. But I think it came out very recently. So yeah, I thought I would come on, just talk about what I thought of it and whether I think it's worthwhile picking up. So this tells the story of a band called Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's got this very sort of like 70s sort of cover to it, and it looks, the front cover looks like an album cover, at least it does to me anyway. And it's a story about the band, but it's not told in a traditional prose format. So if I show you the first sort of couple of pages, you will see here that it's told, are you going to be able to see that? Yeah, it's told from like different characters. So each chapter is split up into, it's not even split up, it's just different characters chipping in what was happening at that particular moment in time. So they're being interviewed by somebody about the kind of band and what happened and the album that they made and things like that. So I really liked the format of the book. It read an awful lot like non-fiction, and I've heard other people say this as well. I wanted to go and listen to some music by Daisy Jones and the Six, because you're sort of reading this and you're convinced that this is actually a band, and of course it isn't. Taylor Jenkins Reid has included a lot of these song lyrics from the album that she describes in here in the back, but of course it's not quite the same as listening to a song. You know, you can read the lyrics a bit like reading a poem, but if you don't have the tune to go with, it's kind of a bit difficult to imagine exactly how it would sound. But yeah, lots of moments where I felt like I was reading about a band that were absolutely real. So I really enjoyed the format of the book. It had a lot of echoes to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo for that particular reason. What I particularly loved about this book was it gave you a lot of insight into the music industry in the 1970s, about you know, life as a band, about the process of making an album. And I'm not really sure how much research she did into that kind of process, and it does talk about in the acknowledgements that she, you know, interviewed and talked to various different people in the industry. I don't know how extensive that was, but it certainly feels really authentic in terms of what it would have been like to write an album, to record an album, all of the different processes that were involved in that particular creative task. And I found it really fascinating. And yeah, felt like I learned a lot about the music industry in the 1970s. Now, I wasn't alive in the 1970s, so I can't, it certainly felt authentic to me, sort of knowing what I do about that particular era. I would be interested to hear from somebody who sort of lived through the music of that era as to whether they think it's got an authentic sort of air to it, because I really felt like it did. There's an awful lot in here about adults trying to navigate love and relationships, and one of the main sort of messages that not messages, but the main things that came through in this was the idea that love is really complicated. It's not black and white. It's, you know, it's not necessarily this idea of there's one person for you in this world and that's it sort of thing. I'm not sure what everybody believes. I'm not really sure what I believe on that sort of front, to be honest. but it certainly came through in this book that the idea that, yeah, it's love is messy, and the decisions that you make in your life about relationships and about your love life are hard and complicated, and I really appreciated that sort of commentary from it. One thing I didn't say about sort of like the interview style is that I quite liked the way you were getting different people chipping in. At some moments it felt like the band were, or some of the band were together talking about these things, and at other moments it felt like the comments had been sort of not mashed together, but sort of like edited together, so that, you know, different people were being interviewed at different times, and then they were talking about the same thing. All of their comments were put in here. What was also good about that is that people remember stuff differently. So your memories of things aren't true, they're what you remember of that experience, and they feel really true and really real to you, but the way that other people remember it, that's their truth. And I found that really interesting as well. So someone would say in here, oh, this happened, or they did this, or they said this, and then somebody else would come in and say, oh no, it was actually this, or whatever. And that kind of idea of what we all have in our own heads to do with our memories and what's happened to us is actually probably very, very different to the way that other people around you remember it. And neither one is necessarily false or whatever, or true on the other hand, but it's just your version of events basically, and I found that really interesting as well. There was something that happened that was revealed at the end of this that I didn't like, and obviously I'm not going to go into what that was, but I thought it was a bit of a lazy choice, and I don't think it added anything to the story in any sort of way. Obviously if you read the book you'll know what I mean, and if you have, then let me know in the comments below whether you agree with me or not. I mean, don't spoil it obviously for other people. But yeah, I just thought it was a bit of a lazy choice that didn't really add anything to the story, so I wasn't really enamoured by that kind of thing. But I really liked it. I would say it didn't blow me away quite as much as The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That was on my favourites list of last year. I really, really loved it. This one I gave, I think, 4 stars or 4.5, whereas 7 Husbands I gave 5 stars to. I've heard a few people talk about the audiobook and say that the audiobook is very, very good. I believe it's like a full cast of characters, so I think the interview style of this would come across a lot more in the audiobook version, so I'd be interested to see what that's like. But I really enjoyed this, and I think I will continue to read Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. And yeah, I mean, she's got quite a few in her back catalogue that I haven't read yet, so I'll be starting there to begin with. But yeah, if you're wondering, you know, should I pick up this newest book? Is it going to be for me? I certainly think it's worth the read. I really, really enjoyed it, and I think you would too. So there we go guys, that was my review of Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read this book? What did you think? Have I inspired you to pick it up now, or do you not think it's going to be for you? Love chatting to you guys as always. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.